today's collectible spot, we are having a look at the NECA Toys Aliens 1/4 scale Xenomorph Warrior. This review will also be testing Spot's limitations for how much I can actually fit on camera. This figure is, I'm sure as you can probably guess it, is extremely large. It's recommended for age 17 and up. It has a warning, choking hazard, small parts, not for children under 3 years of age. And it's also celebrating Aliens' 30th anniversary. 30 years of Aliens. Let's see if I can actually spin the box around. It's, again, a very big box. I don't even know if the alien is completely assembled in there. Maybe perhaps his legs are bent. Well, let's see if we can spin it around here. There's the back of the box. Oh, that's a big box. The read-up says, well, actually, I'll say this first. It's nearly 2 feet tall. This is nearly 2 feet tall. It has over 25 points of articulation, jaw opens, inner mouth extends, and it has a bendable tail. Your read-up says the sole survivor of the Nostromo, Ripley, is discovered in cryogenic sleep 57 years later by a salvage ship. When she is taken back to Earth, Ripley learns that the company has established human colonies on the same planet where the alien attack originated. After all contact with the colony is lost, Ripley agrees to return to the planet, accompanied by a team of colonial marines. Together, they will rescue any survivors that remain and confront the alien menace head on. A good read-up for a really impressive figure. Now again, that's a good image also of what the figure's going to look like. I can't wait to get this guy out of packaging. Normally Spot doesn't do, again, a lot of the large figures, but I could not pass on picking up the 1/4 scale alien here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a break. I'm going to try my best to kind of get this all out and on display. And when we come back, we're going to get a better look at the 30th anniversary Aliens 1/4 scale Xenomorph Warrior. There's more heading your way, guys. Don't go anywhere. All right, so now that we've got the 1/4 scale Alien Warrior out of packaging, let's get a better look at this figure. It is impressive. Basically, it's really not that much different than these smaller 7-inch, 8-inch aliens that we've gotten from NECA before. They've essentially just taken that same style of figure and they've increased it exponentially, almost in vein of like a giant man growing in size. You know, surprisingly as well, being that the figure is as tall as it is, I feel like it would have been a little bit more shaky getting him to properly stand. I've had many issues getting the smaller alien figures to stand, and not always a successful feat. But surprisingly, getting this guy out of package, who's almost 2 feet in height, he seems to stand just fine. And it probably is because he has a larger footprint, for example. Of course, his legs are a little bit broader. He's not as spindly as the smaller alien figure is. Let's have a look at some of the details. Why don't we first have a look at his head? To accomplish this, Spot's actually having to stand up at his desk to have a look at this figure. There's his head right there. Now, primarily, his coloring is more a dark black, and then you've got wash areas here of the blue. And the blue brings a ton of super cool details in the scaling of the head, the rib cage, and all the little intricate details and sculpts that they put in the arms and body. The head is, again, a very large piece. It does have posability to it. You can move the head left and right. The one thing I did actually find, though, and there's a, you know what, we'll bring the camera in slightly. There we go. The mouth does open and close. However, for the life of me, I can't get the inner jaw to actually come out. I thought that there was a little button on the Xenomorph. I tried areas where Xenomorph figures before had a little button trigger that ejected the mouth. But sure enough, I actually can't get the mouth to come out. I've pushed in the smaller jaw, hoping it would be spring activated and shoot back up. I've tried grabbing it just with my fingers with a pair of pliers, and I can't seem to get the inner jaw, the smaller mouth, to actually come out of the head. That's a bit of a shame. I'm sure there is probably a simpler route to go about, For some reason, I just can't get it to go. It does have articulation in the jaw. We can move the jaw back and forth, and you see this long tube that runs along to the back of the xenomorph. I love all the little clear strands that they put around the like little kind of like tendons, I suppose, of the jaw. Nice sharp white teeth as well on the xenomorph. Looks very, very cool. The chest and the arms are basically, again, just larger versions of the smaller 8-inch alien figures. Tons of details though, and actually, being that the figure is so big, it gives you more opportunity to kind of see inner creases and areas that you might have missed on the smaller figures. I also like that they've given it the xenomorph here a nice wet wash, a nice wet clear coat over top of the plastic, so it does give it a very lifelike, wet, slick look as it would appear in the movies themselves. I have to admit though, and one thing I did say before, I'm surprised that he stands as well as he does. It also helps too the fact that he's got this big giant tail that is, much like the smaller figures, a wire frame, so you can adjust the tail. And it adds a little bit of support as well to get the figure to stand properly. Maybe that's why he stands as well as he does, because the tail is as equally large as the rest of the figure. The smaller aliens didn't have as much the benefit of the broader tail to assist, but I guess because the xenomorph does have, in this case, a much larger tail, it does help support him a little bit better. There's the xenomorph feet, which again does have the same posability, even right down to the toes are individually articulated, or at least the 3 toes here are articulated here on the xenomorph. Let's see if we can actually get some of the posability looked at here. Well, we've already looked at the head. The head does have a ball joint. It does allow the head to move up and down, and forward and back. Again, I'm a little disappointed that I can't get that inner jaw to come out. Maybe taking like a little screwdriver or something and trying my best to pull that out. Maybe I might be able to get the inner jaw to come out. But the mouth does open and close. It doesn't appear though that, and other aliens have had this, he doesn't appear to have a secondary ball joint here where the neck can move up and down. Solely though, it seems to only have a ball joint at the base, or the area that attaches to the inner cavity of the head. The arms do hinge out. Again, just everything that you would expect from the normal alien, just much larger. The arms rotate all the way around, like that. And it does have, and hopefully the camera can see it, it does actually have a double hinge elbow. They have a hinge right here, and they have a hinge right there. So between the two, you get the hand pretty much right all the way back against its shoulder. So I do like that a lot. The hands do also rotate all the way around. I love the creepy extended fingers of a xenomorph. Always thought that was real scary looking to the design. There's a hinge also to the hand, so it does hinge back and forth, and you can rotate the hand all the way around. The torso is pretty much what you would expect. There's a ball joint going on there as well, and this whole bottom section, surprisingly, is a rubbery plastic. I think they do it just to cover over the ball joint areas of the leg, so it conceals them just a little bit better. As for leg articulation, they do seem a little more on the limited side, but you can still move the legs out, forward, and back. It does have a double hinge knee, a hinge right here, and a hinge right here. It does also have a ball joint in the lower foot portion, as well as mentioned, the bend in the 4, or in this case, the 3 toes. Now, of course, we also mentioned the fact that the tail is a wire frame, so you can bend that in any which way that you want. I know Spot doesn't really do a lot of quarter scale figure reviews on this channel, just by sheer virtue that the figures are so incredibly large. I just don't have a lot of space to accommodate figures this size. However, there's always exceptions to that rule, and when you can give us something like a quarter scale xenomorph, well, then again, we can make accommodations where they are needed, and I'm gonna find a place guaranteed for this guy. Maybe I'll even have him standing alongside my sci-fi collection of DVDs and Blu-rays. I think that would be really cool, because he's a size enough figure that you really can't just put him simply on a shelf with a series of other figures. You really want to showcase this guy to the best that you possibly can. As a whole, NECA has done, once again, a fantastic job on this guy. Can't really find anything I would nitpick him about. Granted, he doesn't have any sort of accessories. Maybe down the road NECA could look to, and I know it's additional cost, but maybe like a display stand where you could peg these figures onto a stand so that they're not going to move around too much on you. That being said though, aside from that, and aside from the little small jaw problem, I couldn't get the jaw to come out, this is a beautiful looking figure, and I was so glad I was able to pick him up. Spot may do more of these quarter scale figures. Again, it will depend on the figures themselves. Some over others I think I would be more interested in picking up, but when it came to a Xenomorph alien, that was pretty much a no-brainer. Today's collectible spot, we were having a look at the NECA toys. This was the quarter scale Xenomorph Warrior. Can't recommend this guy enough. Super cool. Stay tuned, guys. Spot's going to have more collectible spots heading your way. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.